Good morning, students. Today we are going to study fourth part of the chapter Lost Spring by Anis Chung, and in this chapter we will study second part of the story, and second protagonist is Mukesh. First, we all know very well that Sahib Alam is the son of rag pickers, and you all know very well that this chapter Lost Spring. Lost Spring suggests us what? This chapter suggests us describes two stories of stolen childhood. Millions of children in India, instead of spending their days in schools and playgrounds, waste their childhood in rag picking or hazardous industries. Fine. So in this chapter, it is highlighted that childhood is the spring of life, but millions of unfortunate children like Sahib and Mukesh waste their spring either scrounging in the garbage dumps of Simapuri or welding glass spangles in the blast furnaces of Firozabad. Not only Mukesh and Sahib, students, you can see near to your house those children, those who are working in restaurants, those children, those who are working at home. Some of the children are working in factories. You can see them anytime, everywhere. Okay, so this chapter focuses on what? That this chapter focuses on lost childhood while carrying the burden of poverty and illiteracy. Fine. So first story we all know very well is related to Sahibe Alam. Is related to Sahibe Alam, that we have discussed that Sahibe Alam is the son of rag picker who scrounges, who searches for gold, in garbage, and 1 rupee is gold for them, we know very well. And now we have at the time we have come to know that when he has got a job in tea stall, he was not happy. Why? Because he has lost his carefree look. Now responsibilities are there on his shoulders. Now the second part is about Mukesh. So see, first of all, see Sahib Alam. At a very small age, he has lost his spring, he has lost his childhood in poverty, and he is forced to do job at tea stall. Now we will see who is Mukesh and where did Anis Chung meet him. So second part is related to Mukesh. Mukesh is a boy of bangle maker. Fine. And Madam Anis Chung met her in Firozabad. So see beta, Firozabad is the city of glass bangles, and she met Mukesh in Firozabad. Fine. So this line is highlighted over here that I want to drive a car. Do you know why? Because Mukesh, son of bangle maker, insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. Fine. Mukesh, who aspired to become a motor mechanic. And why does author highlight this line? Because it is not very easy to be your own master in the caste of bangle maker. Why? Do you know why? Because every child is thrown into the business of bangle making or into the tasks of glass making at a very small age. So Mukesh has a very different aim, that he would like to be a motor mechanic. Fine. So first of all, we have to understand that Firozabad, the city of glass bangles. Fine. And Firozabad has been making glass bangles for over 200 years. So I have already explained you that Anis Chung, it is you can say it is the main task of Anis Chung Main task, why? Because she has interest in revealing the fact of child exploitation, and that's why we have already studied that she has met Sahib Alam first. Now she visits a new place named Firozabad, famous for glass industries. So she visits that place, and over there she has met Mukesh, fine, a son of Bengal maker. So first of all, gist of the chapter, this part is like this way, that author visits Mukesh house where she has met Mukesh father, okay, and Mukesh's elder brother's wife. Then we will see Mukesh grandmother. We will see in this chapter. So let us start with the chapter. I want to drive a car. Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be motor mechanic, he announces. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. I will learn to drive a car, he answers, looking straight into my eyes. His dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town, Firozabad, famous for its bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spanned generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So, here we will discuss what? That Anis Chung visits a new place named Firozabad, and we all know very well that Firozabad is famous for glass bangle industries. So we will see over here that the first line is, I want to drive a car. So the writer met a boy named Mukesh who aspired to become a motor mechanic. So she asked him if he knew anything about cars. क्या तुमको मुकेश कार के बारे में कुछ पता है कि जो तुम मोटर मैकेनिक बनना चाहते हो? So Mukesh told over there. The boy was confident. And replied that he would learn to drive a car. Okay, and his dream was far away from reality. And Anishu explained that his dream looms like a mirage. Do you know what is looms like a mirage? His dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of the street that fills his town, Firozabad, famous for its bangles. Actually, what is looms like a mirage? I would like to explain this word over here. Looms like a mirage means whenever something is not very easy to catch, not very have you seen some of the deer, those who think that in front of them there is water in the desert, but when deer go to close to that part, they see that area is only covered with sand dunes. So same thing is happened over here. Mrit Trishna, we can say in Hindi, Mrit Trishna. Okay, fine. So his dream was far away from the reality. And although the boy was confident he would succumb to the pressure. Okay. So every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families will spend generations working around furnaces, welding glasses, making bangles for all of the women in land, it seems. So we have to understand over here, the writer felt that the boy's dream would not materialize and gradually get influenced by the dusty streets of Firozabad. She wanted to see that as every family in the town of Firozabad was involved in the glass bangle industry, हर परिवार फिरोजाबाद का किसमें इन्वॉल्व है? ग्लास बैंगल इंडस्ट्रीज में. फाइन. सो वुड मुकेश डू विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम? तो क्या मुकेश उस ड्रीम को अपना कंप्लीट कर पाएगा? वेयर अदर्स फेल. ओके. सो the families had been involved in working at furnaces, welding glasses and making bangles for generations. They made so many bangles that it seemed that they made bangles for all of the women of the world, it seems. But Mukesh is determined to achieve his dream. He has a spark in him as he is willing to learn everything from mechanics to driving. Okay, so next part is Mukesh family is among them. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperature, in dingy cells without air and light, that the law, if enforced, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes. Mukesh eyes brim as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. So over here, I would like to explain you that they family of the bangle makers, you can say bangle makers, do not know that it is illegal for children like him to work. If the law is enforced, it would rescue the many children engaged in this work. So Mukesh family was also involved in the profession of glass bangle making. They were not aware of the law. They did not know what they did not know what they means what do they not know. They did not know that it was unlawful to force children to work in such glass furnaces. The workplaces were hot, dark, and closed rooms, fine, without ventilation. The writer felt that if the law would come into force, if the law would come into force, it would rescue almost 20,000 children from these inhuman places where they were forced to work hard during the daytime. They often ended up losing their eyesight also. Fine. So we have come to know that like Mukesh, so many children involved are involved in this child labor, in this tasks of, you can say, in this tasks and in child labor, and their parents are unaware that it is illegal to work in factories. Then next paragraph. So Mukesh eyes beam as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. We walk down stinking lanes choked with garbage, past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls, wobbly doors, no windows, crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting in a primeval state. He stops at the door of one such house, bangs a wobbly iron door with his foot, and pushes it open. We enter a half-built shack, in one part of it thatched with dead grass, as a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaves. So over here we will come to know that Mukesh was very much happy. मुकेश बहुत खुश हो रहा है, क्यों? As he took the writer to his home, as he took the writer to take his home, so he was very much happy. Mukesh was happy as he took the writer to his home. They walked down the streets which were full of garbage and gave foul smell. The streets were lined with slum. बिल्कुल झुग्गी झोपड़ियाँ चारों तरफ, which were unsteady. The walls were falling apart. चारों तरफ walls गिरती हुई सी, hovels हैं उनमें. The hovels का मतलब उनमें क्या है? hovels का मतलब slums की तरह हैं. Okay. Crumbling का मतलब बिल्कुल गिरती हुई. Okay. And the doors were unsteady, means कभी भी टूट सकते हैं. There were no windows and were full of families where people lived along with animals. They reminded the writer of the prehistoric man. राइटर को फील हो रहा है एनिस चुंग को कि कहीं वो मीन्स प्रीहिस्टोरिक पीरियड में तो नहीं आ गई जहाँ एनिमल्स और ह्यूमन बींग्स साथ में रहते थे. सो शी वॉज वेरी मच मीन्स शॉक टू सी दी कंडीशन ऑफ these bangle makers. They remind the writer of the prehistoric man who lived just like animals. Mukesh stopped in front of one such door, hit it hard with his foot and pushed it open. Fine. Now we enter a half shake. shake means what? That both of them enter a half shake. They enter a half built shake. In one part of it, thatched with dead grass, is a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaves. On the ground, in large aluminium platters, are more chopped vegetable. A frail young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. Through eyes filled with smoke, she smiled. She is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother. She is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother. So we have come to know that author visits Mukesh's house. Mukesh's father, head of the family. Now we will study poverty stricken. Unable to renovate house or provide education to two sons, only legacy he can hand over is the art of Bengal. So now further we will come to know that. Now we will start our paragraph from here, that we enter a half-built shake. In one part of it, thatched with dead grass. So author went with Mukesh. Author went with Mukesh to his house, and over there we will see, the condition of their house. That their house is, you can say, very in a very pathetic condition. The house where Mukesh lived was partially constructed hut. In one corner was a firewood stove made with dead grass, a vessel with spinach leaves. एक तरफ पालक की पत्तियां उबल रही हैं, ठीक है, was kept in it. On the ground there were more plates with chopped vegetables in them. We will see over here, in chopped vegetables in them. And there were a thin young woman cooking the evening meal for the family. Her eyes were full of smoke emanating from the stove, but she was still cheerful and smiled to see the writer. Okay, she was wife of Mukesh's elder brother. Not much older in years, she has begun to command respect as the Bahu, the daughter-in-law of the house, already in charge of 3 men, her husband, Mukesh, and their father. When the older man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her house. As custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house, send his 2 sons to school. All he has managed to do is teach them what he knows, the art of making bangles. So over here we have come to know that a lady at Mukesh's house, a very weak, frail woman, thin woman, was preparing evening meal for the family. Her eyes were full of the smoke. Okay, and then we have come to know that she was the wife of Mukesh, elder brother. Okay, although she was not much older, ज़्यादा बड़ी नहीं थी मुकेश के भाई की वाइफ, लेकिन फिर भी, although she was not much older than Mukesh, she was a responsible person, was worthy to get respect from the family as a daughter-in-law of the family. She took care of the 3 men, her husband, Mukesh, and their father. 3 लोगों का वो लुक आफ्टर करती है. और यहाँ हमें ये आगे इन्फॉर्म होगा कि she is also looking, means what it, she is also taking care of her grandmother in law. अपनी दादी सास की भी वो देखभाल करती है. हम ये भी देखेंगे आगे. ओके, सो जब ये एक सिस्टम है, when here it is given when the older man enters, line number 1 2 3 4 4. When the older man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face. So Mukesh's elder brother's wife, okay, as Mukesh's father entered the house, the daughter-in-law hid behind the wall and covered her face behind her veil. It is a system in India that means daughter-in-law are expected to wear veil in front of their elders. Okay, it was a tradition for the daughter-in-laws to hide their faces in presence of the older male members of the family. as a custom demands. Daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. So we have come to know that कि जो बड़ा आदमी आया है घर में वो पुअर बैंगल मेकर है डिस्पाइट लॉन्ग ईयर्स ऑफ हार्ड लेबर. मीन्स उसने इतना मेहनत किया है. ही हैड वर्क हार्ड ऑल हिज लाइफ. फर्स्ट इज द टेलर, ओके, and then a bangle maker. He was still not able to either renovate the house. पर वो अभी तक बैंगल मेकर का काम करते करते ही हैज़ स्पान हिज होल लाइफ, लेकिन अभी तक उस अपने घर को रेनोवेट नहीं करवा पाया. और send his son to school. He had just managed to teach him the skill of making bangles. Means even he was not able to send his children to school. Only he had just managed to teach them the skill of making bangles. Then we have come to know, अभी till now we have understood what, हमने क्या समझा. That first part, it was the story of Sahib Alam, son of rag picker. Madam met Sahib Alam, asked his name. Then we have come to know that Sahib Alam, an army of barefoot boys, they don't wear sleepers and all because they don't have the money. Then we have visited Simapuri, where 10,000 rag pickers, around 10,000 rag pickers are living in a very pathetic condition, devoid of sanitation. Then we have come to know Sahib Alam's family and rag pickers family are happy in Simapuri because food is more important than identity. They all have left Dhaka just because of survival, okay. And garbage is survival for the elders, and for small children garbage is the source of entertainment. हमने पढ़ा. Now we are studying about Mukesh, the son of bangle maker. Then we have come to know Firozabad is famous for bangle making, glasswork industries, and every other family is involved in glass making industries. Then we have come to know that Mukesh, who has a very different dream other than his family, that he would like to be a motor mechanic. So it is a dare to dream in the family of bangle maker, different dream to be a motor mechanic. Then we have visited with Mukesh house. We have come to know about Mukesh family, okay. Now over here we will see that what was the discussion held between grandmother and author Ernest Jung. So it is his karma, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? Who has explained this? Mukesh's grandmother. Own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? She implies. Born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles in the house, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard, every street in Firozabad. Spills of bangles, sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple, every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow, lie in mounds in unkempt yards, are piled on 4-wheeled handcarts pushed by young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town, and in the dark hutments next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers, welding pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark circles of bangle, to the dark than to the light outside. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become elders. Students, have you noticed one thing? When we have started this chapter, जब हमने ये वाला चैप्टर स्टार्ट किया था, so we have come to know that Mukesh eyes beam. Over here you can see that Mukesh eyes beam as he volunteers to take me home. Why? Due to the, you can say, due to working in hazardous condition in the furnace, near to furnace in the glass bangle industries. For that reason he has lost his eyesight. Fine. So we can see over here that Mukesh's grandmother is explaining the reality of the bangle makers. मुकेश की grandmother जो explain कर रही है क्या, that they were born in a particular caste which had to follow the profession of bangle making, कि ये उनकी destiny में है to make bangles. All their life they had just seen these bangles. They were everywhere. ये bangles उनको चारों तरफ मिलती है. ओके, एंड मुकेश ग्रैंडमदर जस्टिफाइड हर सन बाय सेइंग that he was forced, that it was in a destiny to make bangles as he had been their family profession. She had seen her husband become blind due to dust from polishing the glass bangle. उसने अपने हस्बैंड को देखा है उनकी आंखें जाते हुए क्योंकि ग्लास बैंगल में वो वर्क करती थी. She said that their family had got this art of bangle making from God, and so they had to carry on tradition. Means they believe that this is the God given lineage, that to take birth in the caste of bangle making means to continue with the bangle making. Okay, so born in the caste of bangle makers means they have seen nothing but bangles. They were born in a particular caste which had to follow the profession of bangle making. All their life they had just seen these glass bangles. They were everywhere, in the backyard, in the next house, in their yard, and even in the streets of town. There were huge spiral bunches of bangles in different colors, like gold, green, blue, pink, purple. They were bangles of all the colors of the rainbow. Further, the writer says that there were bangles in the neglected yard also. So they were dumped on handcarts for sale. They were pushed by man along the street of Firozabad, and in the dark hutments next to the lines of flames of flickering oil lamps sit boys. बाहर तो यंग जो होते हैं, यंग जनरेशन, वो बैंगल सेल कर रही है, एंड रूम्स में, डार्क हटमेंट्स में, नेक्स्ट टू द लाइन्स ऑफ फ्लेम्स ऑफ flickering oil lamps sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers welding pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted, किससे एडजस्ट हो गई हैं, to the dark than to the light outside. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become elder. So the writer describes the environment where these bangle makers work. They were small, dark. वो कैसा रूम होता है? Small, dark huts. The children would sit next to the line of oil lamps whose flames were unsteady, and they have to work in that condition, Fine. So up to now we have understood that what is the reality of these bangle makers, and their family is not ready to accept the inaptness of this industry, this profession which harms them physically, not providing them enough resources to even eat to their satisfaction. But it is their, you can say it is their poverty, it is their destiny that they have to continue with this bangle making. Okay, but here we have come to know that Mukesh is the boy who has dared to see, who has dared to do something different, that he would like to be a motor mechanic. Fine. So their eyes are more adjusted to the dark. A student, this is the, you can say, drawbacks of working in glass factories. So we have to go through, we have to learn that they lost their eyesight at a very early age. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become elder. So up to now we have completed, and tomorrow we will, in the fifth part of this chapter, we will discuss that why do these children why do bangle makers not organize themselves, and why can't they not start their own business and all. In my next class I'll explain all this. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you, and I hope that you all will go through your PDF very well. I hope that you will go through your PDF and then complete your question answers in your notebook, and if you feel any query, then you can ask me on my WhatsApp number. Thank you. Have a nice day.